Good morning. Good morning. Happy weekend to everyone. Um, I feel like I need to. I know my morning chipperness is probably um, really annoying to some of you, and that's fine. But this has been a long time thing of mine. I sing a lot, and actually, my morning chipperness has gotten me slapped before. I feel like I need to tell that story now. Uh, in college, I was in I was a music major and I was in like wind ensemble band, and we got to go to China and do a tour along the eastern part of China. We went to multiple cities. I don't even remember how many. But one of the methods of transportation within China was by train, and it was an overnight ride. And so we were there, from early evening until through the next morning to get to our destination. And the way they woke us up on the train was by playing Jasmine Flower through the speakers. And I can't remember what instrument it is. I don't know what the name of it, but I know you would all recognize it. But it's like, wah, 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 you know. So it's a very like distinctive sound. And so when you try to recreate it with your voice, it's very annoying. And actually, Jasmine Flower was one of those songs that we were playing um, on our tour, and so I knew how it went, and so I started to sing it, and my friend reaches over and it was like, and like slapped me to tell me to shut up. uh, we are still he and I are still friends to this day, and it was not like it wasn't anything like violent or anything like that, but it's just really funny to think of that my morning chipperness has gotten me in trouble, and actually I sing at work all the time, so that's just how I roll. Um, Other random thing, I wrote this down on my list of things to talk about. Um, I came across this track last night. A friend had told me that this song was awesome, and so I went to listen to it, and I discovered that it was free on iTunes, and I'm waiting for. Okay, the song is called Hypnotic by Zella Day. It's really great, so it's free, so you should download that. I know that's not book related, but I like music, so you should totally download that. Um, a little bit of book news. I don't know if any of you follow Taryn Fisher or know who Taryn Fisher is. I assume most of you do, since a lot of people that read my blog are indie people. But for those of you who are the more like traditionally focused peeps, Taryn Fisher is awesome. She writes very unconventional um, books. Two of her books, so I guess I should say her Love Me With Lies series and Mudvayne, they're both love stories. Mudvayne less so. I mean, it's more of a suspense, but there is romance in it. But anyway, she's fantastic, and she just announced on her Facebook page this week that she has chosen the audiobook narrators for Olivia in The Opportunist and Leah in Dirty Red. So they're coming to audio, and I'm so excited. I am saving up my credits so that I can download all of them, because she is actually getting The Opportunist, Dirty Red, Thief, and Mudvayne all in audiobook form. And audiobooks have really exploded in the past year. I am not an avid audiobook reader or audiobook listener, just because the only time I really have time to sit down and just focus my attention on that is when I'm driving, which my commute's not that long, or if I'm doing like mindless things at home. But even so, I tend to zone out. Like, I get so focused on what I'm doing that I don't listen. So it's hard for me to listen to audiobooks. But I do listen to ones, I do get audiobooks for books that I've already read. I want to get better at focusing and doing more audiobook reviews, because I can get through them. I can get through books so much quicker if I do the audiobook thing. I mean, a few of them I've done. I listened to audio first, like Beautiful Oblivion. I listened to on audio. Um, I've listened to Angel Fall on audio, but I haven't written my review. Um, so it happens. But I just want to get better. Do you listen to audiobooks? Tell me, what are some of your favorite audiobooks? Let me know. Let me talk about my week in reading, which like a couple weeks ago it was non-existent. I barely read anything. That's all the news I got for you. That's what I got. I haven't read anything. I started Shadow and Bone just briefly, and I read a little bit more last night and this morning, but I'm liking it. I just haven't had a lot of time. My evenings have been preoccupied with doing other things, so, ugh. Okay, that's going to be it. I hope that picture doesn't make the screenshot on YouTube because that's attractive. Uh, okay. Oh, and I also wanted to ask, because I'm just curious, do you like seeing these videos on Sunday, or would you rather have them on Saturday? I just would like to know. I know that some of you are busy on Sunday, and that's kind of your day to do things. Um, let me know. Let me know if Saturday would be better for you, because I can change the name of this feature because it's my feature, and I can do whatever I want. Um, so this week, the Top 10 Tuesday meme, the topic was top 10 series top 10 new series that I want to start. So series that you want to read but haven't started yet. And I have a lot of those, so I thought that would be fun to talk about. And maybe you can recommend some series to me, and maybe some of these series will be new to you, although most of them are pretty popular. I just am behind the times, which is nothing new, behind the times all the time. And this meme, just so I'm giving it credit to where credit is due, is hosted by The Broke and the Bookish. If you are a blogger, or if you just want to follow along with the meme every week, you can go to their blog, and I'll link that in my post that will be coordinating to this video. But you can go to their blog and get instructions on how to sign up, or you can just follow along with all the blogs that participate. I don't do this feature. I should. I mean, I like it. I like reading everybody's responses every week because some weeks they have really, really great topics, like this week. So yeah, check it out. So yeah, I have 10 series, and I know that there are more. So if if I know I've left some out, like I've already thought of one, which was the Divergent series. I haven't started that. Maybe this meme should be series I have yet to read. Anyway, I know one blogger, Kaylee from K-Books, she does a weekly feature where she says books I've yet to read, or books I haven't read, or I still haven't read. Yeah, it's called I Still Haven't Read. Which that's like the story of my life. I feel like every review I read every week, I'm always like, oh, I haven't read this, but I really want to. And it's like legit because I haven't gotten to it. Like the first one I have on my little list, which I'm looking at, is The Bronze Horseman. Okay. I feel so ashamed that I haven't read this series. Everyone talks about how this is the most epic love story, the most epic romance, and like I don't care if something is historical or not, but it is a historical romance. But I love well-written romances. I love romances that are going to twist the knife into my heart and make it hurt. So, and I've heard that this book has some of those moments. A lot of people that get through like I don't know what percentage in The Bronze Horseman, but they're all like, I can't take it anymore. I can't take it anymore. And that's so attractive to me because I love painful reads. Yeah, so there you go. The next series that I really want to read is the Anna Dressed in Blood series by Kendar Blake. Everyone that's read this series has talked about how good it is. I've heard it's creepy. It's about ghosts, paranormal, YA series. And I just love really great heroines. And sorry, I'm looking at Goodreads while I'm looking at this. But I've heard Anna Korloff is just a great heroine. So I do want to read that. I have the second book in hardcover. It's back there. Oh, there it is, right there. But I haven't read the first one. I don't have it in hardcover, but I got the second book, which is called The Girl of Nightmares, from Book Outlet. Which, if you haven't used Book Outlet before, you've been warned. It is a dangerous place. It has very inexpensive hardcover, paperbacks, and other book things, hugely discounted. So bookoutlet.com. Check it out. The other series is the Unbecoming of Mara Dyer series. I'm sure that there's an actual series name for that, but I haven't started that, and I really, really want to. The third and final book comes out in November, and it's been highly anticipated because it's been delayed. But I really want to read that. Just haven't yet. I talked about this next series in my, I think I did, in my first Sunday morning book chat video, where I talked about my fall TBR, and I still haven't gotten to it. It is now October. But it's the Raven Cycle series by Maggie Stipe. The third book in that series just came out last week, the Blue Lily Lily Blue, and I really want to read it. So it's the Raven Boys, the Dream Thieves, and Blue Lily Lily Blue. There are more books, so if you're one of those people that wants to wait until all of the books are out, then maybe you shouldn't start this series, but I don't care. I'll read it anyway. But I've heard all of the book endings in this series are brutal. So yeah, that makes it even more alluring to me. I'm weird. I like cliffhangers, so I will read it. I've heard it's really, really good, and I've heard this is like her best so far. I read her Sinner, or her the Shiver series, the Wolves of something. I can't remember what the name of the series was, but Shiver, Forever something. I read those several years ago. I'm really good at remembering things. And I liked that series. The next series is new. The first book just came out, but I'm super intrigued. It's called the Dark Caravan Cycle series by Heather Demetrio. The first book is the Exquisite Captive, and I think it's like a historical fantasy type YA novel. I could have sworn I just heard something, like a bell. Okay, that's creepy. Well, happy Halloween. But yeah, it looks really good. It kind of reminds me with the tone of Forbidden, which I read last week, which I forgot to talk about. But it takes place in like this historical, like magical desert type setting, I think. So the Exquisite Captive. My friend Narita read it and said it was really good. Like I think it's being described as like dark and seductive, and I really like the titles of the sequels. Now I'm gonna have to look them up while I'm here. But the sequel titles are like even more alluring. Okay, the second book in the series comes out next year, and it's called Blood Passage. And then the last book in the series is going to come out in 2016, and it's called Freedom's Slave. So I really like Exquisite Captive, Blood Passage, Freedom's Slave. I really like those titles. The next series that I really want to start, and I haven't, I talked about this in a blogosphere post last week, and that's the Knitting in the City series by Penny Reed. I've heard they're really humorous and funny and just really good. And then the next one is another series that just, like the first book just came out. I think they're standalone series, companion novels, I guess is the right term. And that's Burying Water by Kay Tucker. I loved her 10 Tiny Breaths series. I haven't read 5 Ways to Fall yet, but I loved 10 Tiny Breaths, One Tiny Lie, and 4 Seconds to Lose. Just really they're just great books. But Burying Water, I've heard lots of wonderful things, and I can't wait to read it. So yeah, Burying Water is the first book, and I think then Becoming Rain, and I think there's another one. So I want to get to those. Oh, and the next one. Everybody has been telling me to read this series for so long, and I want to. I just haven't gotten to it. But it is the Original Sinner series by Tiffany Reese. It's a BDSM, like dark erotica type series, but I've heard that all of the characters, the character development, and the sex definitely does not overshadow the plot, which is what I look for in erotica. I'm okay with the sex as long as it's, integral to the plot or it's done well. And I've heard that this is one of the series that does it really well. For instance, I can think of like C.J. Roberts, the Dark Duet, her Dark Duet series. Great. That's erotica, BDSM, very dark, but it's done really, really well. But yeah, the Original Sinner series. I want to read that. And then there's a spin-off series, and everybody says how amazing all of these books are, and I really want to get to them. I just haven't had time. And then the next series is a spin-off series of a series I've already read. So I don't know if this would technically qualify as a new series. I'm going to say it does. But it's the Schwazi series by Lori Otto. It's her spin-off series from the Emmy Lost and Found series. It features, I don't even want to say because it might be a spoiler to you, but it features some characters that you see, or a character that you see in that Emmy Lost and Found series, and it's more of a YA type series as opposed to the Emmy Lost and Found is more, I guess you would call it new adult, but it's hard. It's not sexed up new adult. It's just that age group. Yeah. So Emmy Lost and Found. If you haven't read that series, it's really really good. But the Schwazi series, I want to read it. I think I just haven't had time, but I do want to read it. Yes. Cheers. And unlike last week, there's actually coffee in here, not drinking alcohol because it's morning actually. Okay. And the last book that I have is the first book in the Ruthless People series. The first book was Ruthless People by J.J. McAvoy. And I've heard this book is so good. Like, I've heard it's just what the title says about these ruthless people, and you don't like them. They're not good people, and they're killers. So I want to get to it. My friend Narrator really, really, really liked it. She likes dark killer type books. Like, anytime there's a killer in the blurb, she's like, I'm all over it. So she's a very dark person. Narita, you're such a dark person. Narita is like the girl that wears like pink clothing but has like a black inner core. That's Narita. So, yeah. But she's sweet. Kind of. Just kidding. She is. Okay. So that's my 10 books. What are some of the series that you've yet to start, but you really want to? Leave me a comment below and let me know what some of your picks are. They might be similar to mine, they might not. Maybe you should read the Fever series if you haven't started. Maybe that should be your book, one of the books on your list. I talk about that book in every one of my videos. I'm sorry. No, I'm not. Okay. And then to wrap everything up, because that's really all I was going to talk about this week, I thought I would start doing like recent books I've added to my TBR, and I don't always add lots of books to my TBR every week because I feel like it just adds up and piles up and stacks and piles and piles, and I will never dig myself out, but that's okay. I just need to learn to accept it and know that my TBR is always going to be bigger than I can manage. So there it is. So I added a lot this week. I now have how many books on my TBR? Let's see. 665 books. Yeah. Okay, I added Diamonds by K.A. Lind. It's a new series that she's going to have coming out next year. So, yeah. I added Bait by M. Maybe. It looks super angsty. It looks like everybody's comparing it to Thoughtless, because there is a major love triangle and there's cheating and it's just super angsty. So if that's something that you're looking for, then you might want to check out that book. But I'm going to wait until a few more of my friends read it and to see if I will read it. I know one of my friends started it and DNF'd it, and she kind of told me what was going on, so I don't know. Have you read Bait? Tell me. Have you read it? Let me know. But yeah, as of right now, I'm probably gonna not read it for a while. But yeah, just want to clarify, I don't want my words to be taken out of context. I do read new authors' books. I just try to wait, like if some of my friends really liked it. So I'm not exclusive. I'm not a snob. I don't want people to think that and take my words out of context. Okay. The next book is a novella or a prequel to J.M. Darhauer's Forever series, which I loved, sempre Redemption. So I love her. I loved what I've read of hers so far. And then the other two books that I added, I already talked about. Heather Demetrios's Blood Passage and Freedom Slave, the Dark Caravan Cycle series. And the next book that just came out, or no, it hasn't come out yet. I think it just came out because I've seen so many blogs post about it this week. But it's Knocked. I'm probably butchering how to pronounce that, by Courtney Cole. It looks really good, and I love the cover. But it's a new adult, really, really good. So, yeah, check it out. I also added Penelope Douglas's Falling Away. It's the third book in the Fall Away series. I think it was Bully and then Rival and then Falling Away. I haven't read Bully, but everybody says that Rival is so good, so I went ahead and added that. It comes out in January. I also added Owning Violet by Monica Murphy. It's the first book in the Fowler Sister series. It comes out in December. It's erotica. But anyway, it's about a girl whose family has a cosmetic company, and the girl starts, or the heroine, I guess I should say, starts seeing this guy, and he's the hero. And it looks like he may not have the purest of intentions. He might perhaps want a job with the cosmetic company, and he's just using her for that. So that's what it's about. It looks good. So I added that. I also added The Law of Moses by Amy Harmon. I am so ashamed. I know I talked about this before. I haven't read a lot of Amy Harmon's books. I read Infinity Plus One, but everybody tells me I need to read A Different Blue and Making Faces, and I just haven't read them yet, and I'm so ashamed. I really want to. But yeah. I also added The Lockbox by K.A. Tucker. I like her books, so I added it. Basically, that's enough said. And then the last book I added, and I've talked about it before, and I thought I had added it to my to read list ages ago, but it's a YA novel called Even the Moon Has Scars, and it's by Steph Campbell. I'm actually a Steph Campbell virgin. I haven't read any of her books, but she's a YA author, and I need to read her books. I like YA. But yeah, it looks really, really good, and the cover is beautiful, so you should check that one out too. Now, those are all the books I added this week to my to-read list. What have you added? Have you added any of the books that I've added? Let me know. Yeah, this video is entirely too long. So on that note, I will talk to you guys next week. Make sure if you're watching this somewhere other than my blog, you can find a link to all of the books that I talked about in my coordinating blog post, which I will link in the description box, or if you're watching this from Facebook or something, I'll link to that. I'll try to link to that. Anyway, I will talk with you guys next week. Have a good week. Bye.